Hello, hello, hello. We are live. Alright, so this is Torah portion with the grants. Today's portion, Vayeshev. Maybe I'm getting that a little bit wrong. Hold on. We will show you guys what we're reading today. So basically, we usually do this on Shabbat, but we're doing it a day behind. Please forgive us. We need some good rest during Shabbat, because that's what it's all about. So, here's what we are reading today. Regular Shabbat reading is Vayeshev, he settled, and we're going to be reading through Genesis 37, 1 through 40, 23, and then we'll be reading these Haftarah and Gospel portions in Amos 2, 3 through 8, 2, 6 to 3, 8, and Gospels Matthew 1, 18 through 25. Like every read through, we like to play a parsha in 60 seconds because it's a fun way to kind of catch up with what the portion was about before we actually read it, so we can kind of get some fun images in our head. So I'm going to go ahead and play parsha in 60 seconds for Vayeshev. I'm really having trouble with this one. All right, let me pull it up here. Parsha in 60 seconds.
Shalom and welcome to Parsha in 60 Seconds. Today's portion is from Genesis 37:1, 40-23. It is called Vayeshev, which means "and he settled." This is the story of Jacob's family. Joseph was the favorite son and tattled on his brothers. To make it worse, he wore a custom-made rainbow coat and had dreams that his brothers metaphorically bowed down to him. The brothers were fed up, so they ripped off his rainbow coat, Sparta-kicked him down a well, and sold him into slavery and lied to Jacob that Joseph was eaten by beasts. Jacob was sad. Later, Judah moved out and married a daughter of a Canaanite and had 3 sons. The oldest married Tamar, but God killed him because he was wicked. The second brother was required by law to give a child to Tamar, but he failed and died. The last brother was up to bat, but Judah was afraid and would not allow Tamar her right. Long story short, Judah accidentally slept with Tamar and fulfilled her right. She gave birth to Perez. Meanwhile, Joseph landed a sweet gig with a man named Potiphar, but his wife tried to have her way with Joseph, and when he refused, she accused him of rape, and he was sent to prison. While in prison, Joseph met a baker and a butler and interpreted their dreams. The baker would die, but the butler would live and be restored to his position with Pharaoh. Joseph asked the butler for a referral when he was restored, but the butler forgot. And that is Vayeshev in 60 seconds.
Yeah, so I guess watch out. If you disobey God, you're going to get an anvil to the head. That's the message I got from Parsha in 60 seconds this week, at least. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Vayeshev. Okay, I got it. All right. So we are going to be reading through Genesis 37:1, and I think Sierra's going to go ahead and start us out here.
And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and also stood upright. And behold, behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheaf. And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams, and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it to his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to them, Here I am. He said to him, Here I am. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brothers, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out to the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren, tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence, for I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren, and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what becomes of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered it out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands to deliver him to his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him, and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread. And they lifted up their eyes, and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead, with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. And Judah said unto his brethren, What profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him. For he is our brother and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned into the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. And he returned unto his brethren, and said, The child is not, and I, whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat, and killed a kid of the goats, and dipped the coat in the blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or no. And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat, an evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted, and said, For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.
Alright, my turn, I guess. Alright. And it came to pass at the time when Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adullamite, whose name was Hirah. And Judah saw there was a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua, and he took her, and went in unto her. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bare a son, and he called his name Onan. She yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah, and he was at Chezib, where she bare him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said to Onan, Go in unto thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar his daughter-in-law, Remain a widow at thy father's house till Shelah my son be grown. For he said, Lest peradventure he die also, as his brother did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And in process of time the daughter of Shua and Judah's wife died. And Judah was comforted, and went up unto his sheepherders in Timnath, and his friend Hirah an Adullamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, Behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garment off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. Then Judah saw her, he thought to her to be a harlot, because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What wilt thou give me, and thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, Wilt thou give me a pledge till thou send it? And he said, What pledge shall I give thee? And she said, Thy signet, thy bracelets, and thy staff that is in thine hand. And he gave it to her, and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. And he arose and went away, and laid by her veil from her, and put on garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adullamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of the place, saying, Where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, There was no harlot in this place. And returned to Judah, and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there is no harlot in this place. And Judah said, Let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent the kid, and thou hast not found her. And it came to pass that 3 months after, that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, Bring her forth, and let her be burnt. Then she was brought forth. He sent to her father-in-law, saying, By the man whose these am I with child. And she said, Discern, I pray thee, whose are these, the signet and bracelet and staff? And Judah acknowledged them, and said, She hath been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelah my son. And he knew her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of her travail, that behold, twins were born in her womb. And it came to pass, when she travailed, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, This came out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out. And she said, How hast thou broken forth? His breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Pharez. And afterwards came out his brother that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was Zerah. Back to the story of Joseph after that quick, strange little story there. All right.
And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake, and the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. Excuse me. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not that what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her, or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by the garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand, and fled, and got him out. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house, and spake unto them, saying, See, he hath brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us, and he came in unto me to lie with me. And I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me, and fled, and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until his lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me, and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him, and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, and showed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did the Lord made to prosper.
Okay. All right. And I will keep reading. And it came to pass after these things that butler of king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord, the king of Egypt, and Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of his butler and against the chief of the baker. Let me look where I'm going. 23. All right. And he put them in ward to the house of the captain of the guard, and to the prison where Joseph was bound. And captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. And they continued a season in ward. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each his dream in one night, each man according to his interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. And Joseph came in unto them in the morning, and looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. And he asked Pharaoh officer that were with him in the ward of his lord's house, saying, Wherefore look ye so sadly today? And they said unto him, We have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me them, I pray you. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, In my dream, behold, a vine was before me, and the vine was 3 branches, and it was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, and pressed them in Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. And Joseph said unto him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee into thy place, and thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, after the former manner when thou wast his butler. But think on me when it shall be well with thee, and show kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I put nothing that they should put me into the dungeon. When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream, and behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head. And in the uppermost basket there was all manner of bake meats for Pharaoh, and the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. And Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh from off thee. And it came to pass on the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants. And he lifted up the head of the chief butler and the chief baker among his servants. And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again. And he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him. All right, that's Vayeshev. I got it right that time. But yeah, always reading Joseph's portion is pretty interesting. So I'm going to challenge you guys watching. There are so many parallels to Yeshua, to Jesus, and to Joseph. So if you wanted to maybe leave some of the parallels you found between the story of Joseph and the story of Yeshua and kind of their identities, different things that happen in their lives, please leave those in the comments, because, man, it's one of the most interesting parallels. I will just throw one out there, one of the most simple ones. There were 12 brothers altogether, At the time, I think there was only, 10 or 11, but 12 brothers, and then we have 12 disciples. So that's an interesting parallel there. You can kind of look at that as you will. But if you find any other little parallels, leave those down below. And I know I have a couple good ones, but we'll see what you guys can come up with. All right, we're going to read from Amos, and it is Amos 2:6 through 3:8.
Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Israel, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they sold the righteous for silver, and the poor for a pair of shoes. They pant after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek. And a man and his father will go in unto the same maid to profane my holy name. And they lay themselves down upon clothes, laid to pledge by every altar, and they drink the wine of the condemned in the house of their God. Yet destroyed I the Amorite before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars. My goodness. And he was strong as the oaks, yet I destroyed his fruit from above, and his roots from beneath. Also I brought you up from the land of Egypt, and led you 40 years through the wilderness to possess the land of the Amorite. And I raised up your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O ye children of Israel, saith the Lord? But ye gave the Nazarites wine to drink, and commanded the prophets, saying, Prophesy not. Behold, I am pressed under you as a cart is pressed that is full of sheaves. Therefore the flight shall perish from the swift, and the strong shall not strengthen his force, neither shall the mighty deliver himself. Neither shall he stand that handleth the bow, and he that is swift of foot shall not deliver himself. Neither shall he that rideth the horse deliver himself. And he that is courageous among the mighty shall flee away naked in that day, saith the Lord. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. Can 2 walk together except they be agreed? Will a lion roar in the forest when he hath no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he hath taken nothing? Can a bird fall in a snare upon the earth, where no gin is for him? Shall one take up a snare from the earth, and have taken nothing at all? Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and the Lord hath not done it? Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. The lion hath roared, who will not fear? The Lord God hath spoken, who can but prophesy?
All right, that was Amos, and we're going to finish up in Matthew 1:18 through 25. I'll finish that up. So, now the birth of Jesus Christ was on the wise when his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph. Before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. Then Joseph, her husband, being just a man and not willing to make her public example, was minded to put her away privily. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now all this was done, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is, God with us. Then Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the Lord had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son, and he called his name Jesus. All right. Anyways, that was that New Testament portion. I know sometimes they associate certain parsha readings with the time of the year. We don't particularly practice Christmas. And I know that sounded like a very Christmassy verse, but I know sometimes there's people that have theorized that Yeshua may have been conceived around Hanukkah time frame, where the light of the world came into the world. But we definitely don't practice Christmas, so don't interpret that as a Christmas verse. And if you want to know why, maybe just send us a message. If you're somebody out there that does keep Christmas, happy to talk with you and explain our personal convictions on why we don't practice Christmas. And anyways, yeah, so Happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate it. And we'll catch you guys next time. And I just want to leave off with this. I know sometimes this might be just reading the Bible, and that might seem boring to some people that tune in. They're like, wow, what are these people doing? All they're doing is just reading. But really, I think that's one of the most potent, powerful things we can do is just read the Bible out loud. I might always want to jip in there. I said I don't want to add too much of my 2 cents because it's only worth 2 cents. But I just get excited about different topics, and I want to know you guys' thoughts. And bottom line, let's just read the Bible out loud so we can grow together. So thank you for tuning in to Torah Portion with the Grants, and we'll catch you guys next time. Shalom. The awkward moment before we end the stream. Peace out, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in the chat. Shout out to you guys, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.